The Xenoblade games mean a lot to a great many people. Everyone has a different reason for resonating with them. You could really enjoy the plot of the games, or maybe you fell in love with the characters. You could be a fan of the music, the unique localization, or the incredibly imaginative landscapes, the inventive combat systems, or, likely, all of the above. Today I want to shed light on a meaning to these games that you might not have realized, and why the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is something special. I've had a little bit of time to sit with the game since finishing it, and I think the game is fantastic, but that's not what I'm here to talk about in this video. It's about the story of the man who kickstarted the series, and how far he and it have come. And to illustrate this point, I would like to take you on a journey through time. Back in the 90s, Tetsuya Takahashi, the creative mind behind all Xeno games, was working at Square as a graphic designer. He has worked on games such as Final Fantasy IV, 5, 6, and Chrono Trigger. At some point, however, he became frustrated with the direction the Final Fantasy series was taking, and the emphasis Square had put on this series. And this led to him getting the director role for his own project, called Project Noah. Or as we know it today, Xenogears. He and his wife Kaori Tanaka brought a unique style of storytelling that emphasized the psychology and philosophy works they had initially bonded over. They wanted to inspire the youth and instill the seeds of a philosopher's thinker onto the player. Unfortunately, Takahashi's inexperience as a director led to the game not meeting his expectations, as he stated in an interview after its release. A lot of content had to be cut from the game, and the scale of the story had to further be conveyed to the player through a book called Perfect Works. But it had to ultimately be cut short because Square and him had reached a boiling point. After this, Takahashi had closed the deal with Namco and was able to start a spiritual successor to Xenogears, Xenosaga. Because of the huge scope of Perfect Works, Xenosaga was supposed to be a 6-part series that covered 3 story arcs, but due to poor sales, the series had to be discontinued at Xenosaga 3. Despite the 3rd game ending the story, they were forced to leave a lot of the story out of the 3rd installment, and had to be told through other media like a mobile game, and even a series of explanatory PowerPoint-esque videos. After 2 quote-unquote failed projects, Takahashi and his crew finally ended up at the parent company that they're at today, Nintendo. After the acquisition of Monolith Soft by Nintendo, Takahashi once again finds himself at the starting block to create something new. But this time, he has experience as a director, an experienced team, and, on top of all of that, creative freedom that was given to him by Nintendo. And that's when the Xenoblade Chronicles series got its start. The Xenoblade games all offer something different, while retaining the essence of a Xenoblade game. To also go into further detail on all of that is not within the scope of this video. Take that, Takahashi. But one thing that is true throughout the trilogy is that the main cast consists largely of young individuals. And these young individuals are the ones that, with extreme optimism, defeat or get through to the jaded and often long-lived villains. Keep that in mind for a bit. With Xenoblade Chronicles 3 now out, Takahashi has finally, after 30 years of struggling, finished a complete story arc. And the thing that I find most beautiful about Takahashi's journey is this one quote that he said in a volume of Ask the Developer. "I want to convey to the young generation nowadays, through my story, that they can create their own paths however they want, and that they should not give up on their dreams and goals. I know this message seems cheesy, and it is, but I can feel its weight, knowing who the sender of this message is and what they've been through." His story doesn't just mean the story within Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's also the story of Takahashi and his struggles. If you keep at it and don't waver, you can achieve anything you want. And another thing that ties into all this is one of the recruitment philosophies over at Monolith Soft. They welcome young talent through their Fresh Graduates program. As an aspiring game dev myself, This story really inspires me to keep reaching higher, not to give up when things don't immediately go my way, and hopefully making the world a better place while expressing myself through the medium that I love. I hope I was able to convey to you the message that I believe Takahashi wants the player to take to heart. And as a closing statement, let me, with the context of this message, show you an out-of-context quote from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I know how scary taking the first step can be, and yet, it was young folks like that set whole worlds in motion. The video is over now. Thanks for watching. And if you couldn't tell, this was my first time ever doing a scripted type of video. So if you noticed any glaring issues that I could fix, don't hesitate to let me know. I promise I won't get offended as long as you stay respectful.